Coming up, we got part 2 of our chat with Brad Walsh. If you haven't checked out part 1, go back, check it out. Lays the foundation. Part 2 now.
Cool.
Right.
Would you say, like, let me ask you a question about what would a 20-something young Brad at Salisbury say about Brad right now? Would he be grateful, thankful, or would he say, dude, you could have done this differently?
Seagull One would be
Seagull One.
That's my profile name on my Netflix account. Is Seagull. I'm trying to get the vanity plate for the truck to just say Seagull.
I love it. I love it.
I'm the proudest alumni of a D3 university known to man.
I don't know, man. Salisbury does have a pretty sweet following. And there's some very, very prideful
program. It's a whole
the lacrosse program's outrageous.
And their jerseys this year are silky.
Are they? Oh, I gotta check them out.
They've got like, especially the maroon ones. Like it's got like this little thing down and like it'll come down straight on the side, and then the shorts comes down halfway and then like rolls over.
Oh,
like, it's a nice little touch.
I like that.
Berkman's always had.
Berkman's still there.
He's still there.
Holy cow!
I think it's his 38th year there or something like that.
I was gonna go with 80th, but yeah, dude, he's been there for ages, and they're still fucking good. I don't know how coaches do it these days with all of the different things that have been injected in the last 10 years with NIL and the other crap. Like, I don't understand, dude.
You played in a different era in
Very
so
different
many ways, but the interesting part, and I think it's been interesting for them because I think they've attracted a lot of people who wanted to play. They still wanted to play at a competitive level, but they didn't want to deal with the beat. Still really high caliber. I mean, this year was interesting because they did a lot of scrimmaging against D1 teams before they got into regular season.
I feel like they've done that a lot the last decade or two.
They were scrimmaging like Towson at Kent Island High School. I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
wow,
it was a very interesting set, but I thought it was neat because, like, you can get this local talent that wants to stay here that can get a great education.
For sure.
Especially from the Purdue School of Business. Fantastic. But, like, you're close to home. You're still working good on it. I just think it's an interesting one. But, I mean, to your point about, like, if I flash forward from 22-year-old Brad to soon to be 41-year-old Brad, like.
Did you see this?
I am close. The funny thing about it is I had no aspirations to go to law school. Like, that was not.
What did you want to do originally? Or was it one of those situations where you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do, but I'll figure it out?
So my undergraduate's in marketing and sales.
Okay.
And I wanted to sell. I have a passion for selling. I love to sell.
That is awesome, dude. Nobody ever does. I've only had like one other buddy that has come on the pod who is like, dude, I fucking live for sales. I love it.
It's competitive to me.
Yeah.
It is a natural scoreboard. Success is a natural scoreboard, right? And I like the all-you-can-eat buffet of it, where it's like I can make my own success or not.
Yeah.
Actually, so my dad was in sales for his whole career, and he sold boat parts and accessories.
Okay.
So he drove around from marina to marina to marina every day.
Okay.
And, you'd have some marinas have like these really small, little shops inside, like, the office, and other places had much more robust offerings. But that's what he did. And I actually really wanted to kind of like follow in his footsteps because I was like, man, this is awesome. All you do is go from marina to marina all day.
This is sick. I grew up on boats. I love boats.
I worked in marina, like, over where the point is.
Yeah.
I before the point was there in high school, I like taking all these AP classes. And so I could get out of school at like 10.
Smart man.
So I had a job. I had a full-time job when I was a senior in high school because I'd leave there at 10:30 and go work in the marina for the rest of the day. And just moving boats, picking up boats. It was awesome. And I loved being around the marinas and that. So I thought I was going to go do that. I got into staffing and recruiting originally. So I worked at Aerotech when I first got out of school.
All right.
Now, I came out right at the beginning of the Great Recession.
Okay. Not
a great time to be in staffing and recruiting.
Not a great time.
Not a time to be alive. Not in that gig. But that job, that's a tough gig. And Aerotech's a tough place to work. And they also have one of the best training programs out there. And, people talk about places like Enterprise, and
you will always find new grads at an enterprise, but like never really wowed by them at all. But
it's interesting. I mean, a lot of
staffing is interesting though to me because I have like pretty good. I have no knowledge of how the staffing industry works at all, but between Aerotech, SmartLink, other shops locally that like a bunch of our connections have like, as soon as they were out of college, like that's one of the first places that a lot of these guys have gone to, and girls.
Well, and it's a great, I think often back, I'm still really close with from some of the people I worked with at Aerotech, and one of my buddies, I was with him 2 weekends ago, and we were just sitting there and we're talking about some of the people that we worked with and what they've gone on to do in their various careers. There's some wildly successful people in a lot of different
That's pretty
things.
cool.
The thing they taught you to do, they taught you to work. They taught you to set up your day. We used to have our first 40 calls scripted before we left the night before.
Damn.
Because we could start dialing at 8 a.m. and we had to be there by 7:30. We'd have our triangle meetings, and then we had a office-wide meeting, which was called a red zone. You come out of that, and literally 8:01, you can start dialing. And they wanted your first call sheet set up so that you weren't then trying to figure out who you were going to call. 8 to 9 o'clock is a great time period to talk to people when they're on their way to their crappy job that they don't want to go to, right?
That's actually pretty damn smart.
You got to get a lot of calls in and that, and then you set up your day, because then you leave a message, people call you back later.
Right.
The thing I think that job, aside from like setting up and structuring your day and being really successful with that job taught me how to talk to people on the phone, be a good communicator, how to write really good email follow-ups, communicate quick. And also I had to do in-person interviews with all these people. I'm a member of what I'll call the Oregon Trail generation. It's the Zennial, where you're not quite, I'm technically a millennial, but I don't necessarily identify as one per se.
No, it's like you're like on the cusp of Gen X millennial.
Yeah, it's like, and they are actually calling it like the Zennials. It's like this micro generation that finds themselves between the two, because we operated in a world pre-internet, pre-digitalization, where you still had to talk to people, but everything was being introduced to you I think you look at stuff like AI and like, why are you accepting of these things so quickly? Well, that's been our entire life. This innovation, this technological innovation has been just we're at the forefront of it the entire time. So you just constantly take, whereas other people having to like truly change how they're operating. It's harder for them when they haven't had it and they've done their job a different way previously. And, I think growing up, my parents had a lot of older friends that were around. And when you were out on the boat for the whole weekend and you didn't have your friends with you, you were forced to talk to a lot of older people. So I got comfortable having conversations with older people and mature conversations at a younger age. I think that helped me a lot. But, the interesting part is, when I first went to law school, I was the only one in my entire class that had a business degree.
What made you want to go to law school though?
My brother pretty much was like,
you have to do this.
You should do this. Like, okay.
All right, Jay, twist my arm.
And it kind of like intrigued me.
Sure.
And I remember sitting down with my dad and talking about it, and I was trying to like decide whether I wanted to do it. And he was like, look, even if you don't practice a day in your life, they can never take that education away from you. Now, that was an expensive education.
That's an expensive one.
Use it rapidly. But, the funny part is it's like what I'm doing now, I think the critical thinking component of being an attorney, like, is very helpful. Like, again, that preparing for worst case scenario, that kind of that angle has been incredibly impactful. But at the same time, there's a business degree is also incredibly helpful. And in building to get here, my sales background was very helpful as well in understanding. Now, I'll say the thing that I think makes me a little bit different than a lot of other people in our industry is I synthesize a lot of information from multiple sources. So I'll take data from one place, I'll take a concept here, and I just start thinking about it and like, can I connect the dots to the two and see either the next trend, I hate when agents just take like the Maryland Association of Realtors, like infographic and just like, check out what's going on in the latest report. I'm like, you're not showing any value to your fan base.
No,
you're not saying, hey, I've looked at this. Let me tell you about the trends that I'm seeing. Let me tell you, like, let's have an actual conversation about this. Hey, this might be statewide, but in these local pockets, demand is still incredibly high here, or,
Exactly. It gives context to stuff.
And I think just too many people don't want to go to that next level. They just want to hit the easy button and let it roll. I'm a huge nut about stats, and I like them so much because I think it helped. I got really into tracking market share, and it was in part, I started doing it in 22 because when the interest rates went from 3 to 7% over 3 months and the market just went,
Yep.
I couldn't figure out whether we were losing or whether it was just market conditions. And the only way I stayed sane was I could live with having reduction in sales if it was market conditions. I was not okay with it if we were just losing market share.
Exactly.
So I started tracking it like super tight, and I got a really nerdy spreadsheet where I
got the same thing, man. I know what you're talking about.
And like I like seeing it because I like to see where the trends go. And sometimes I'll give you a great example. So we actually had a bad market share in December. It was like a 0.5% reduction over what we normally have from our general market share of the state.
Sure.
And I was like, this is a problem. Then January, we had the snowstorm hit, a lot of
transactions. God, don't remind me.
So the revenue was down, but then I looked at the market share, and not only did we get everything back that we had lost in December, it was our best market share ever. And so it made me feel a little bit better because then it was like not just related, like I beat the market. I'm always looking for like a scoreboard on how I can, I wasn't a college athlete in the same way that you were, but I'm hyper competitive, and I've got to find, like, that's the thing I liked about selling was it wasn't me against someone else. It was me against myself. And can I just go push myself harder? Can I just go, what is the work that I'm willing to do to make myself better? I talk to my sales team all the time, and I'm like, guys, I'm going to give you this information. I'm going to give you the conversations that I think you should be having, but I can't go out and have those conversations for you.
Correct.
And part of listening to me talk about it or go read about it, it doesn't have to be the stuff I'm talking about, but go educate yourself on something. Become an expert on something. Be able to, all the time, I think in our industry, especially as a service provider, people want to take the BS that they're given. And, when an agent says, like,
it's recycling it.
It's like, this market's terrible. Inventory is just so bad, blah, 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 blah. Those are their personal excuses as to why they haven't produced.
Yes. Thank you.
And for me, I'll sit there and go, no matter what, pre-COVID, it was, values aren't there. This isn't here. COVID, it was like, oh my God, we don't have any inventory. Well, yeah, we also had 2 of the best years of the history of the entire real estate market ever.
Exactly.
Like
simmer down.
Anyone bitching about at that point? Like, doesn't make any sense. And then it's interest rates. And then it's just, I'm like, well, there were still 64,000 homes sold in the state of Maryland last year. It wasn't a goose egg. It's now what percentage of the 64 did you go out and get?
I think, like, you mentioned stats and being kind of like I might be taking your words and making them mine, but data nerd. I do the same shit. And it's not because, like, I don't look at it as like, oh, if I have all the data and all the numbers, I'm going to be the best. I like finding context for stuff because I'm a sports guy. I can tell you, growing up to now, there are plenty of guys that you would see on an NFL Hall of Fame or an NBA Hall of Fame list, and you can look at their statistics and be like, wow, but context matters, because if you actually physically watch those games, take a guy like a James Harden, for example, incredibly talented. If you look at just the numbers, it's going to be like, whoa, that dude is incredible. But when you actually sit down and you drill in on him, you realize super skilled player, but very limited when it matters the most. And that is
when it matters the most, and didn't fit in a lot of teams and
exactly
that provided for it. And that's the context.
That's the context.
And I think there's too many people that don't understand that the context is the entire shooting match.
Exactly.
And, because you can sit there and I can give you national numbers.
Right.
Those don't mean anything here locally.
No.
This market compared to Austin, Texas is totally different.
Completely different.
If you look in, even let's take the state of Maryland, different than anywhere else. Let's go hyper local and go into Anne Arundel County as an example. There's parts of the county that are moving right now, and there's parts that are sitting right now.
Very stagnant.
Sometimes even within a zip code, there's going to be certain communities that are always going to move.
No matter what. They have the character, they got the prestige, whatever it is.
There's a few of them that everyone wants to be in, and they're always going to move. They're always going to retain the value at some level. So I just don't think that it's too many people just they want that easy button. They want to just be able to give the one-liner.
Right.
I don't have a problem pushing back and saying, I hear what you're saying there, but I just don't agree.
Right.
And not enough people, I think everyone just wants to keep piling the BS
keep
down
moving
the
it
road.
on. Yeah, exactly.
If I don't agree with what you say, we can have a healthy conversation about it. And I might be able to say, look, based off my experience, I don't agree with that. I think it's X, Y, or Z. And I might be able to give you a contextual point that you can use with your clients. Cause I don't think a lot of take alert. I don't think there's a lot of brokerages that are actually offering guidance to agents.
Oh, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
We're not set up that way anymore. And so I think too many agents are getting their information from very bland sources. They're listening to the national trends. They're listening to all these other things, and they're not getting that guidance. And it especially concerns me about newer agents because they are just,
I'd say it's newer agents. And it's also like, I remember even coming into this industry 13 years ago, honestly, she's one of my favorite managers ever. She's fantastic. She ended up convincing me to get my real estate license and go. Kathy Brooks.
I love KB.
Absolutely love her.
KB.
She's my favorite. She was a mentor of mentors, always trying to teach and provide context and give examples. And, that was so valuable to me because if you look at what we have now in terms of an industry, it's not a lot of that. It's pretty depersonalized. And one of the things that we're supposed to be doing as agents is making it a super user experience. But you can't really do that if you're not educated on how to do that. And part of that education is having context. Nationally is fine and give you an idea of what people are reading in the headlines, but you have to stay on top of stuff locally. So in addition to just looking at all the numbers that we have that come in through Bright or whatever service we have, I will also track the consumer index, consumer confidence stuff, average mortgage rates over time, tracking, the Dow Jones, because that kind of stuff will, again, give you an idea of, all right, well, this is kind of like where the average buyer that we're dealing with, which most of our buyers these days are a little bit higher end than they had been in the past, just because people can afford more stuff than they've been able to 10 years ago. So your average price is a little bit higher, but this is still like some of the context we're providing. But at the same time that you're looking at the numbers and the data there, you also have to read what is happening locally. What kind of developments are coming in? What kind of regulations are going out? Because if somebody, it might seem like innocuous and stuff that you don't really, it's not really going to affect you, like short-term rental thing and
stuff.
That was like, who cares? But dude, it's going to have a big impact because it's going to affect some of the people that were thinking about purchasing and using something as an Airbnb. It's also going to affect the people that currently have them as Airbnbs. And, it's going to have positive effects and negative effects depending on who you are. But it will, if some piece of legislation passes like that might seem small, that could mean an extra 2% uptick in listings that we're sorely needing. Like that kind of stuff can really make the difference in laying out for a prospective buyer or a prospective seller. This is what we're seeing. And this is why
your buyer,
you should do this or why you shouldn't do this yet.
I'm not a big fan of restriction on property rights. That's like a big central theme for me. Like, I hate that. You talk about like the Airbnb restrictions, or that's a form of not in my backyard.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course.
It's the same thing with development, right? But at the same time, then everyone's also over on the other side saying, hey, home affordability is a major, crisis.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I'm like, you can't cry over here about NIMBY and development and creating more inventory. It's straight supply and demand.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing that I find too many people don't understand enough of is
the economics of
the
everything.
economics of it all.
Yeah.
And just how
Totally
supply and
agree.
demand really, really works. And, you know, I'll never forget when we first started working together, that was an era that you could wing out an offer at like 30% off list and no one had a problem with it. It'd be like, that's listed for 400. Let's give them 275 and let's see how this thing shakes out.
You are so right. And you just reminded me of a good friend of mine. I love him to death. I won't say his real name on here. We'll call him, well, I won't use his last name. Well, Jim. Jim, no matter what, whenever we're house hunting, like if he will have a budget in mind for whatever it is. Let's say it's his budget's 600. He'll send me stuff at $1 million and be like, you want to make the call? I'd be like, oh, hold on. What's the call? He's like, see if they'll take 600 cash. I'm like, dude, that worked 10 years ago. It's not going to work now.
But it's crazy. Like, even, look, we're not 40-year industry veterans.
No,
but the industry change that we've seen since we've been in the game.
Oh, it's probably about the same. It's
just been compressed.
It's just been compressed down. So exactly right.
If you look at it from the perspective of, we went from the foreclosure and short sale era to low interest rates. There was such an influx of inventory at that time period because of the foreclosures. By the time that all the robo signing crap all got done, you could kind of just wing out some offers and be okay with it.
Yep.
Then 16, 17 occur. Like, everyone talks about the COVID era being like this crazy time. We were already short on inventory pre-COVID.
At that point, yeah.
Like, that 17 was like late 16, early 17 was when that first started to really, I'll never forget 17. February of 17 was a hot market. Like, demand, it was like the earliest spring market we'd ever seen. And it just kept rolling. And it was the same in 18, the same in 19, and then 20. That's when those rates dropped right before COVID. And I mean, I tell the story all the time because we had the most refinance orders that we had ever taken in over a 30-day period in the 4 weeks leading up to the shutdown. And I had this massive pipeline that we couldn't close. And so for like 3 weeks, I'm just laying there at night. You know, this business that I just worked to build is just going away.
Yep.
I'm going to go out of business. And then they opened up doing closings again. And then the next month and a half was just because everyone was like, those rate locks weren't getting extended. So we had, I mean, I've got pictures of us from like literally like early April of 20, where we're doing closings with gloves with no masks.
Yeah.
Because that was like what everyone told you at the time, right?
That's what you had to do.
Believe the information. So I went from working, you know, being 3 weeks not sleeping to next month not sleeping because we were closing them from 6 o'clock in the morning until midnight.
Yeah.
And doing some pretty wild closings, like, because everyone like, well, I'm not like comfortable doing the closing with you.
Dude, you guys did one like on the hood of somebody's car for us because they were like, listen, I'm not going in there. I'm not going in the office. We're like, okay.
That was the best part about having a pickup truck. Made me out back.
Made me out back. Come on, baby.
We're doing it on the bed, okay? I'll never forget it. One day, Terry was doing a closing out in the gazebo next to our office, and he went to come in, and this big wind gust hit, and the entire loan package dispersed over the entire parking lot. And I think I'll try and see if I can find the video because he was literally just scrambling around the parking lot, and I'm watching it from my office.
Just dying.
We're going to have to re-sign this whole loan.
This whole thing. Holy shit.
What is? But like, you know, it was a different era, and like you go from that, then you get this interest rates go up, buyer demand drops. Then all of a sudden, you know, we saw this shift from a wild seller's market that it had become because of the compressed inventory to, all right, well, no, we're not really in a buyer's market. In my opinion, it's pretty neutral right now. I think it's a
pretty healthy, like from the metrics, it's still a seller's market. Like it's still around 2% or I'm sorry, 2 months of inventory, but it doesn't feel like that. I think the weird part right now is like the ultra luxury stuff is doing like really well.
Oh yeah. That
And
stuff's
the other stuff that is like pretty good is we're back. We've been back to like a condition is king kind of market, which is, we've traditionally had. It's like the better that look in the house is, the better stage it is, the better condition it is. Like it's good. That's gonna.
Your point about the people can afford more.
Oh yeah.
They don't have the cash. They've got the earning potential.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
So they can qualify. So that's where condition matters. You got something turnkey right now. People will pay for it.
You better believe it.
I was the only idiot that went in and bought a real dumpster fire, spent my life savings to put it back together. I was in a fortunate position to be able to do that because I created something that is now turnkey.
Yep.
But
took a lot of fucking money to get it there, though.
Took a lot of money to get it there. And I was like
it's pretty stressful living through a reno.
Oh, and I did that while the interest rates were in the second half of 22 when the rise was going.
Yep.
And the value of the old house dropped.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there going,
oh boy,
I just made the worst decision I've ever made in my entire life. And I'm going to bankrupt my family as a result of it. And,
that's right.
My wife just watched me just like squirm, and it all came out fine. But, the reality of it is that it would have been a lot easier. A home just sold near me for a ridiculous price, but it was done.
Yeah.
Guy's like, you see that detached garage over there? I want that.
Yeah. Well, look,
he moved 4 doors down.
That's it.
4 doors. He had a beautiful house. He moved 4 doors down for that one to be done. And he wanted that. And he had the money and he said, I'm doing it.
Because he didn't have to put the work in. He could afford to do it. And people will pay the premium. People that can will pay the premium for something that is done when the market's tight, when there's a bunch of inventory that is around us that was built in the 60s and 70s, which sometimes can be awesome if it's been, updated and really, really thoughtfully. But not all of it is. A lot of it's like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and it's cute looking, it's painted nice, it's decorated beautifully, but it's not today's standard. And we are very privileged in a lot of cases because we have so much more access to TV and see what the massive renovations can go and look like. You have Pinterest, for God's sakes, where you can get every fucking idea under the sun. And so everybody has a much higher expectation and an elevated palette, I guess you could say, of what things could look like. And we have that. And then people want it, but then you start talking with contractors, local or otherwise, and you get an idea of what that price is to get it like that. And it's like, oh, fuck. Well, and you can't start for 6 months, and I can't move back into the house until 18 months from now. Well, maybe listen, we don't have to move. We can make this work.
There was a lot of people.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the interesting part for me, and I agree with you, like the one part about, I'll say, I was fortunate that Steph wasn't working when we did the reno because she could be there.
It is helpful.
And she could make the decisions and be quick.
Yeah.
And it didn't take my focus off running the shop because she was there making all the decisions, doing that. I was just merely a checkbook at that point. Like that was my role in the transaction.
Yeah.
I moved for a lifestyle change, and because I live across the street from my brother. It's very cool to have all of the nieces and nephews grow up together. It's awesome. I love it. I made the move for a lifestyle decision. Steph did all that, so I didn't have to focus on that. She'd be like, what do you care? I'm like, I'm trying to keep this thing together right now. Just let me focus on the shop. You focus on that. I think there's a lot of people that don't realize how much time and focus it takes away from your other part of your life when you're trying to do that. And so that's why I think condition matters the most and why people are willing to pay for the turnkey way more. And look, there's a lot of contracting options out there that can go in and do the rehab on the way out to try and maximize your dollars. Some people it's right for, some people it's wrong for, and there's a lot of reputable companies with it. I think for me, there was a lot of what I call skip buyers who, when the interest rates were low, they bought a house that they could have never afforded.
Right, of course.
So they went from Maybe it was a first-time home buyer that skipped the condo or the townhouse and went straight to the small single family. Maybe it was the person who was coming from the townhouse, but instead of going to the small single family, they went to the forever house.
That's right.
Now, if you did that in 20 or 21 and you just took a ride on the price appreciation, maybe it's now the time to do the cash out refi, even though you're going to give up your interest rate,
right,
to access that equity in the house,
to make it your own,
to reinvest it in the house, because you're not having to do that next transaction. Like I call them the missing transactions that, pre-COVID, people were buying a new house every 5 to 7 years on average, right?
It's like 12 or 14 now or something like that.
It's going to be 12 to 14 years. So when you talk about when I say the missing transaction, well, where are we in that cycle? We're at the beginning of the 5 to 7 year cycle. Yeah. Why are we only going to have 4 million homes sold in the United States? The skip transactions, or the skip buyers and the missing transactions, I think are a bigger piece of it than anyone's giving credit to. And this has been something I've actually been talking about this.
That's a really good point.
And you're starting to see the net effect of it. Now, there's a lot of people who bought a house during COVID at when supply and demand was out of whack, and they had to give up their firstborn child, and they missed out on 10 other houses. So they just had to go.
Yep.
A lot of those people are starting to sell because they're not that happy in it.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say is about the last snowstorm we just went through. If you didn't like your house before that snowstorm,
woo,
there's some listing appointments about to be.
There is some listing appointments to be had, but
people are like, you know what? This is not exactly
what we thought it was going to be, babe.
Yeah. So
that's so true, man. Dude, I didn't even think about it in that context with the skip buyers, but that's such a good point, and it's so true.
And I think it's going to be a little bit more suppressed than we otherwise would normally see as a result of that, which is okay.
Yeah.
Look, there's some people that have been hanging on in our industry that need to get out from a natural position. I think some of them, it's actually, you're still seeing the effects of the financial crisis where they had to work longer than they wanted to.
Sure.
Our industry is so interesting because we don't have that retirement moment. Unless you're very planned and very certain about it, because the toughest part is you're under contract and you're working with someone. You're like, all right, this is going to be my last deal. And then all of a sudden, you're someone else calls you, like, hey, Shane, would you sell my $1 million house? You're like, fuck, I'll do one more.
All right, one more.
I'll do one.
I'll do one.
But so you see those moments and you're like, so I think people elongate it out.
Yeah.
Too much. I saw a stat the other day that kind of shocked me. It said that almost 50% of the title industry will retire by the year 2030. I was like,
wow,
that's 4 years. That's 4 years.
50%? Now, did they think that that's AI driven or age out or a combination of the things?
Combo.
Okay.
It's a look. There's. I went to my first Maryland Land Title Association event 16 years ago, and I was the youngest guy in the room.
Well, I believe that. Yeah.
I went 3 months ago, and I was still the youngest guy. No one's. They're not.
That's true.
It's not a sexy business. I was like, hey, let me tell you about this great career path.
Do you know why? Because every movie you ever fucking see about lawyers, it's Lincoln Lawyer. It is somebody is up on a murder trial and we are you can't handle the truth. That's the kind of shit that we go to the movies to see. We are not going to the movies to watch somebody handle a land deal.
Yeah. It's like, hey, let me talk. How do we put this sexy line in about building restriction line encroachment?
Did you need an easement?
We've got a big take here.
Yeah, that's right. Unless
is across the property.
Unless Rachel McAdams is my attorney that is drafting those documents, I can assure you I'm not watching it.
Yeah, there's nothing sexy about the business. And, when you look at it, you add that with the wire fraud and the attack.
That's true.
I don't know why I do it.
At this point, it's a community service.
It's really just a community service effort. I should, but you get to that and it really is this moment where it's too risky. It's not fun.
Yeah.
The stress is immense. I love it still. Terry and I always refer to that next contract that comes in as oxygen.
That is true. Yeah.
The next, you're just I always say the day that I don't get excited about getting a contract, then I'm done. That'll be the day that I just put me down.
I get more excited about getting a contract on something than I do that contract closes, which sounds ridiculous because you're only doing this so that it closes. But that initial feeling of getting something,
it's an excitement of the new journey that's about to begin.
Yes.
And I think, that part's interesting to me. I actually love working with first-time homebuyers.
Same here.
Like, some people hate it. And I look at it as the opportunity for me to.
Generally, I really like it. I don't like it if they back out of a deal for something stupid. Don't get me wrong.
That's you see a few.
You see it. I saw it recently.
You see a few terms like that, and you're like, all right, guys, these homes are not new construction. Even new construction's not.
Dude, you go through new construction, it's like, whoa. You do the blue tape exercise, and all of a sudden the house is now made of blue tape, and you're like, fuck, this is a lot. So I don't know. I mean, everything is going to have something with it. I love the educational piece with first-time homebuyers because it makes me, I don't know, anytime I have to teach something, it either reinforces something that I know I should be doing that I'm like might have laxed on or whatever, or I'm teaching myself at the same time. Like, well, now I'm like, let me put myself in your shoes and let me think, okay, well, listen, this is what the A, B, C, and I don't know, it just helps me at the same time that it's helping them to talk through some of these things and have those moments.
I think the interesting thing and the reason why I like first-time homebuyers so much is I get to set the standard of what they should expect
that is true
to be to move forward.
Yeah, that is true.
There's nothing that I like more, and this isn't a first-time homebuyer situation, but there's nothing that I like more with seller. I'm meeting with the seller and they're coming in and I'm doing a closing for the buyer and they're like, see our shop.
Yeah.
And they look at their agent and they're like, why did you make me go to this shit box over here to do my deal? Like, they were terrible, and then it's like, well, these, and what the agent can't go is, well, this is my affiliated title company.
Well, exactly.
Or this is who's paying for my leads, or this is who's doing this. Like, they can't get those words to come out of their mouth.
No.
But so, I always say, because I'm not an affiliated with a brokerage, or I don't have JVs or anything like that with anyone, I've got to be 3 times better than my competition.
Yeah. From a lot of different angles too. Like, not just like we'll call it the user experience. It's not just that. Like, it's also like, not only do I have that, I don't have people feeding me businesses like you mentioned the title companies that are kind of like in-house title companies. They get the advantage of having people just come to them just because, like, it's almost like a car dealer. People are just coming in, they're interested in buying already. And now all you got to do is just not fuck it up. So you have to go out and physically get them to come to you. How do you do that? You have to build relationships and maintain relationships with agents first and foremost. That's like probably the biggest source of business. Then on top of that, you have to do all this marketing with either print magazines that are, perfect local spots for you guys to be in and advertise your services, do the digital advertising, do whatever the hell you got to do. Now, in the last 5 years, everybody's got to do this freaking video stuff because all these algorithms, all they pump out now is video. People are now doing podcasts like me, like, holy shit, I was a real estate agent. Now I'm a fucking creator. What is happening? Like, there's so many different things you have to do.
The other tack that we took it with it was philanthropy.
That's true. Yeah.
That was a different tack that we took. I mean, the core purpose of our business is to serve our people and community with exceptional experiences. And we look at that as our people are both our internal employees as well as our clients and referral sources. And the community is where we live, work, and play.
Right.
Yeah. I live a mile from the house I grew up in. I'm a Broadneck Peninsula boy. I'm always going to be a Broadneck Peninsula boy. When I described to my wife the area that I was willing to live in, I said, I want to be on this side of the Seven River Bridge. I don't want to be on the other side of the Bay Bridge, and I'm not willing to go north of College Parkway. And she said, you just described the Broadneck Peninsula.
So here,
there you go.
That is it. You nailed it.
But there's because I live where I grew up, I feel really attached to the community here. And I am attached to the community here. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people, they either say they are, and then they don't follow through.
True.
And it's not just about writing a check. It's not just about going to an event. Like, you got to do it all. And, we've got a monthly cause that we support every month, and people get to
You guys, I've seen you guys do fish for a cure. I've seen you. I mean, you guys have done
I got it's
so
actually sweet.
much.
I'm getting to one of the chairs for Fish for a Cure this year, which is really
That's
exciting.
cool.
So this will be. We got involved in fish in 2018, and it's kind of become like my passion to do it. We're actually we are likely to go over $1 million raised through Team Real Council this year for our lifetime, which will be. There's 2 teams that are in the running to see who can get there first. Me and Laxfish and Real Council and Laxfish, and they happen to be our competitors, but some really good friends too. And I think that part of it is even more fun. The other co-chair for Fish this year is Rich Bowen, who is the captain at Laxfish, and he and I are just really solid friends, and it's become a lot of fun to do. I mean, last year we raised I think it was 1.4 million.
Damn.
In effectively a crowdsourcing fundraising tournament.
That's crazy, dude.
This isn't a charity golf tournament deal that we're doing here. This is like real dollars, real competitiveness. And it's also awesome because it literally is impacting the hospital a half mile from here.
That is
where
pretty
we're
cool.
sitting right now.
I noticed that is something that you guys have been very, very strong with, is in terms of getting and maintaining a local presence, because almost everybody that's at Eagles local. It's not like nobody's really like kind of relocated in and just like starting anew. Everybody is born here, raised here. People have different backgrounds, different histories. Some people's families have been in it, some people haven't. But the way that you guys have like been able to maintain presence and continue growing year after year after year, I feel like when you guys are doing these philanthropic things, whether it's the Fish for Cure thing or being on the board of the hospital and things like that, it's just further entrenching yourselves in there. And I just think it's so cool, man. I'm sure it helps with the growth of the company and stuff, but like
I would
just
be
awesome.
lying if I said it didn't do that. But I'll never forget when I first got out of law school, my partner Terry said to me, he goes, "All right, what organization are you going to get involved with?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, you're out of school now.
You're doing it.
You need to go build your book of business.
Yep.
What organization are you going to get involved with?" Hadn't really put any thought to it. And the thing that he said to me, and there's a lot of Terryisms that we could go on for days.
Oh my God.
Love the man. But one of them was, he goes, "You need to get involved and start building your professional life and show people what you can do." Especially when you're young. When you're young and people don't want to trust you with the biggest transaction in their life, or agents didn't want to trust me with their paychecks and whether I was going to get it there, you have to show them and give value and do the work to prove it before you ask for it. And in that world, it was go out and get involved in networking organizations, go out and get involved in philanthropic endeavors, sit on a board, show the board that you know what you're doing, show the board your competency, and then it grows around you. And so all of our people, when they join, you get the same thing. You go give back to your community. It will give back to you more than you'll ever admit. And like, again, there is a business component to it, but there's also improving these communities that win. Our world is so fractured at this point.
Oh yeah.
Give back and do something to make your community better. And that's the thing that I love. Growing the business has been one of the great challenges of my life. And I'm not here to tell you I've got it figured out. I lay awake at night, most nights, thinking about it.
Well, you're doing something right.
I got a really fantastic team that I work with. Like
that's half the battle, is making sure that
I'm a maverick when it comes to things, because I'm just like an idea guy. I'm like,
we should do it. I don't know how we're going to do it, but figure it out.
If someone could go implement it, and that's true. I mean, like everyone who works with me, I'm constantly just on to the next thing, and the staying power is what they do with me and push me, and they've pushed me to far greater places than I would ever have gotten on my own. So my team is truly the best. They're good to me. They're great people. They believe in it. And I think, like, take when we opened the Baltimore location and acquired the company that we did to bring it, that office is, they started the Swim Across America chapter.
Oh yeah.
Up there, and they've raised over $5 million, through what all Betsy has done up in that quarter. Like, talk about like, it's not just, hey, it's not lip service. You go do it. You get involved with it. You feel good about it. And as a company, we've made a commitment to backing our people up.
Right.
If they're going to go out, last night it was at the Touchdown Club event.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know what? we generally don't support things that we're not involved with. I want people involved. I want to know why we're doing it. I want to see the value of it. I want to see them grow. I want to see the connections. I want to see them give back to their community, because it's not just about writing a check. I get asked for checks all the time. I want to be there. I need someone for my team there. I need to be involved at some level, because we want to, you talk about a grassroots style, the staying power. Too many people just want the check. They just want the money, but it's the involvement. It's the relationship.
I'll give you the check, but I need to be a part of it.
Yeah. It's
that's a good way to do it.
There's a component where like, it's not an ATM.
Right.
Like, we got to all be fair to each other. As I said, the margins aren't great. You got to be able to get the value out of it. And at the same time, you know, over the years, I've learned how to be bougie on a budget.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that don't know how to be bougie on a budget. And it kills me, because they'll just ask for dollars, and you're sitting there like, you're just going to waste this stuff because you don't know what you're doing with it. You think that this is, you know, your open house needs a 3-piece band in the corner. Like, that's make the difference between
somebody writing an offer and not. Well, I was on the fence about this, but that quartet was fantastic. So
I'm willing to put up the extra million. That band's for the top.
This house is exquisite. Was that from I Love You, Man? My buddy is such an idiot. He would come into my open houses sometimes when I was starting out, and he would be like, Shane, you know, I'm not buying anything in here, but I am going to come into your open house, and I am going to just be like, I don't think you're asking enough. This house is exquisite. And he would do, I swear to God, if he had a free weekend, he would do it every single time. And I'd be like, oh my God, you gotta leave. You gotta go.
I must have this house immediately.
Yes, it was incredible.
Just stoke up some sand.
Thought he was so good at doing it. I'm like, oh my God, bro. This is not how we do this. That's so cool, man. I think the community piece is huge. I think that it's something that I want to do more of for me, for our group, because as much as it definitely does help business, but I think there is a character piece that builds on you when you have, and from a couple of different angles too, I guess, because it's not just the relationship that you build with the people that are there and the connection that you build with them, but it's also like kind of further entrenches you into the area, and you get a little bit more pride in where you live, which that matters, man.
Well, I think the other thing, and you're about to get to this level with your kids. Like I've always been a few years ahead of you in like the marriage game, the parent game. I like the fact that my kids watch what we do in the community.
That is cool.
Cause I'm like, you know, they'll ask me all the time, like, well, why do you do all this stuff with fish? Why do you do this? And I said, because it's our responsibility as a member of this community that we improve the lives of others. It is our responsibility to do that. It's not an option.
Yeah.
Like, if we're given the resources to do it and the platform to do it. And I think that for me, because the business has been successful over the years, it has given me some financial resources to do it. You also like have to want to do it, and you have to want to be involved and show up. And I think the side of that to me is like, I've started taking the kids with me to events.
It's pretty cool.
Like, we'll go do it. We'll go, like, I want them to give back. You know, one of the things we do is we have a paid day of service for everyone in the company, and they get to pick what they want. And I don't care whether you're the CEO or no matter what seat in the house, everyone is empowered to take advantage of this. And I always tell them, I don't care what you do. Just give back to your community in some way for that day.
Right.
And some of it is going on your kid's field trip.
Oh, that's a good one, man. Holy cow. That is service, by the way.
Cool. Yeah, if you've ever been on I had to go on a school bus with a whole bunch of fifth graders last year. I was like, oh boy.
That's a problem.
Went all the way down to St. Mary's County and back. And I was like,
oh my God. What'd you do in St. Mary's County?
They had the
the Calvert Cliffs or whatever.
Like the first settlement down there with like all the ships and everything.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Or whatever. And
yeah.
It's pretty cool, but the 2-hour ride down and back with a bus full of fifth graders was a situation.
I can imagine. Not awesome.
Fortunately, I had my AirPods with me, but you know, you do something like that. And like, I think the reason why I like it is because too many employees, like they don't want to give up a day of their vacation to go on the field trip. I want them to feel like they're involved in their kid's school. I want them to feel like they can get to do that. Or some people are big in the SPCA. We've got people who are big with the food bank. Mentioned the board at the hospital. We've got my partner Tom is on the head of the board for the wellness house.
Oh yeah,
doing
yeah.
some awesome stuff. We've got like all these people, Betsy's got Swim Across America. All these people have these different little things. And it's like, I always love it because when you see like pictures of the team, Megan here does the Live Like Noah walk for MAD. And the cool part about it too, like in our office, we've got like rotating pictures in the bullpen of like all this stuff.
Yeah.
The team, and you see the other team members show up and support the other people's causes.
That is pretty cool.
Like for the Mad Walk, for the Noah's team with Megan, there must have been 25 employees there and their families. And now like
it was like culture building,
and it's not like forced culture building. They want to do it for each other because it's something that those people are passionate about.
It's cool, man.
So it's been.
Do you ever look back on it and think like, shit, man, we kind of did foster this. This is pretty cool. That's got to be a pretty humbling moment.
It's humbling for sure. And I also look at it as like there's so much opportunity ahead too.
Yeah.
And one thing we've never been good at is celebrating our wins along the way or accomplishments along the way. Because I always think that I always love December 31st. And in some ways, I always love January 1st too.
Yeah.
Like I love every year. I always say that I'm going to go away the last week of the year and recharge.
You never do.
And do that, right? Never do. My wife wanted to kill me this year because I told her that I blocked off some time and
I did not.
I went to the track instead. But I like the scoreboard on December 31st to see, did we hit the goal that we said we wanted to get to?
Right.
And then January 1st resets me because I'm like, all right, now we're back at zero.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I've said this on the pod before, but I'll share it here. Like one of my favorite athletes ever is not very athletic.
Talking Charles Barkley?
No, Charles.
the
round mound rebound. No, I'm talking TB, Tom Brady. And anytime he was asked, and this is, primarily in the last 10 years of his career, what's your favorite Super Bowl ring? His response was always the next one. And I think that there is a certain psychology that you have to adopt to be at the top of your game that will not allow you to celebrate those wins, even though some part of you is probably like, man, I should be like, we should do something for this because this is awesome. Like, I think there's a part of you that knows there's always more work to be done. There's more that we can do. There's more that we can be. And so even though you have that gratitude for what's been accomplished, you have that confidence that you know that you can move forward, you still know that there's more ahead. And I think that you're mentally prepared to attack that journey. It's not really like, it's not time to pop champagne and do the stuff. Like,
I look at it, I mean, I think we've got like 52 employees in the title company right now, something like that. I look at myself as a steward of and I'm responsible for 52 families.
Yeah.
This is how I look at it personally. That means I need to innovate and adapt to current market and what's going forward with AI. I need to be able to protect them, and by protecting the business itself. I'm reading a book right now, which has re-energized me in a big way. It's called The Founder's Mentality.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't read it though.
It's pretty unique. It's interesting. And what I find interesting about it is like, it's reconnecting me with the early years of the business.
Yeah.
And look, anytime you've got growth, T always says to me, he's like, everyone's not excited about your growth or our growth, whatever, which is true.
Yeah.
There's people who've like, I remember when, I wish you guys were still the size you used to be. It was more boutique. It was more this. And I'm like, yeah, but I can also sit here and have the conversation that we're having right now. And the whole Eagle team is running the shop.
Exactly. I couldn't have done that before.
Like, I would have been losing my mind. But like, I've got 4 attorneys on staff and I've got a team of just dedicated professionals that are running our wire room and the funding process. And I've got, the processing team members and the post-closing members and our underwriting team members that are all doing their roles, and it's happening all around us. That allowed us to build a business that could service our clients in a big way in a lot of ways without me. And that was tough.
That's tough.
Especially the people that I felt like I brought into the business. And not everyone loves it. And we've lost some relationships as a result of that. And it's tough because I still have tried to maintain a lot of my book and service it, which has been harder. But, I've been able to go and learn from some of the best people in our industry nationally. I've built this awesome network of people that I network with. And when I say network, we mastermind together. And it's people that do the same thing, but in all different geographies.
Sure.
So we're not in a room as competitors talking. We're feeding each other lessons.
Like, this worked for me. This didn't work for me. Like,
we've been able to move our business forward probably 5 to 7 years ahead of where we should be.
Because of that. That's cool. Damn.
And they're willing.
The power of networking, man.
Well, and they're just good people. And like they're, and so I go to a lot of these. My wife laughs at me all the time. She's like, for someone who runs a local business, you sure travel a lot. And I'm like, and I just texted her. I'm
easy hater.
Yeah. I just texted her today. I'm like, all right, I'm going to Texas in April, and I'm going, to North Carolina here. I'm doing this. And she's like, what? Don't you run a local business? I'm like, yeah, but this is where the information is. And it's not like, could we do these on a Teams call? Sure.
Oh, God.
But the relationships that you build with it are just, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, I could text a group chat I'm in right now with 15 of these people and be like, I'm having this issue. Does anyone have any ideas?
It's invaluable to have that stuff because you never know. I mean, it's probably even more so in your industry. Well, we're in the same industry, but like the practices are more strict doing what you do than they are doing what I do. And so having that like feedback from other people that are in states that maybe they don't operate the same way that we do, but this is what's worked for them. We had this issue. This is how we got it past it. All right, shit. Well, can we do that same thing here? And will it work? Or do we have a constraint?
The ideas that come out of it are just great.
That's so cool.
There's industry titans that are in there. There's ones that like, I was laughing. I had to go to Nashville last year because I was speaking at a conference about organic growth.
Yeah.
And we had 3 different guys on the panel, and I was the organic growth guy. And I'm like, the youngest one there. I'm like, okay. One was talking about JVs, and there was a few different ways we were talking about it. And we went to a dinner that night, and then there's actually this really cool speakeasy that was in the basement of our hotel.
Oh, that's cool.
You had to go through like a broom closet to get into.
Oh, shut up.
It was wild. And like you had to like know one of the doormen to like show you what broom closet to go into. And so I'm sitting down there with these guys that are just way ahead of me in life. And guys like, I like you.
Thank you.
I'm going to mentor you. That's the best part. I actually just got a text from that group chat just for now.
Hell yeah.
But like, they're like, I'm going to mentor you. I'm like, what's in it for you? And he's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
He goes,
I just know that I get to help somebody.
I see myself 10 years ago in you, and I'd like to see you get to the next level. And I look at it for me as like the next level and what's in it for the clients of Eagle as an example.
Yeah.
Like the next level. It's the next level of resources. It's the next level of fraud protection. It's the next level of creating a better experience for our clients and referral sources. It's being able to see what's coming next in the business before we're not reacting to it. We're driving it. I think there's going to be mass consolidation in the title space. And I think that I just spent on Friday on this new tool.
You don't have to say.
It was close to the cost of my first house.
If anybody is missing an escrow check, please refer to Bradley Walsh.
And the crazy part was I didn't have a problem making that investment.
No, because if you have the backing behind you, you have you've spent knowing how diligent you are, you've spent enough time looking at that and going through every scenario. And, shit, this is going to work for us.
I'm not a quick decision maker. There's no one in my life that would say, you know what, that guy
is impulsive.
Yeah. No one has ever, people have called me a lot of things. No one has ever said you're impulsive.
Listen, unless there's a Coors Light around, and then it better be freaking cold.
Yeah. If the mountains aren't cold, we're not now. If there's a natural light or a Coors Light in in the vicinity, and it's close to 5 o'clock. We're rolling.
Listen, if you're around Brad Walsh and you are a Coors Light, it is a bad day to be a Coors Light. That's for sure.
You sit there and I look at it and the team did watch me waffle on that decision for a little while.
Yeah.
And it probably took me 2 or 3 months to like fully get comfortable because of the cost associated with it.
Sure.
But I just looked at it, and so I'm sitting there. I inked the deal at like 7:30 Friday night. I was like, happy Valentine's Day weekend.
Yeah. Woo.
Sweetheart. Let's get going.
He's like, all right, talk to me. When was your day today? Baby, I just spent more money
she was like,
on a tool.
Yeah. How is this helping me? But
that is romantic. Yeah.
But, you got to, and what I started looking at was the competitors that won't be able to make that same investment. They're going to be slower.
Yeah.
Their communication's going to be weaker. They're more exposed. They're going to get hacked. They're going to have a wire fraud incident. They're going to have all these things that just take them out. And now we're in this position where it's adopt a product that can have speed to market in a way that it can react to consumers quicker. It can tell you the information that you're missing quicker.
Yep.
We can have the draft communications available. People I always say that the first time that someone sent me an email that I could tell was drafted using chat, it's like, cheater.
I knew it.
Now you see it and you're like,
damn, man.
you're like the way you experience it, right?
Yeah.
I think that's just generally how the world's moving. But like the ability to invest in that and the ability to create those relationships, because now my people can spend the time on the people side of the business. And I think in a lot of ways, we as humans, because so much is being automated and AI is taking over so much of our life, we are craving that human interaction in ways that we haven't had. And I can't remember how long.
A long time, brother.
I mean, you and I haven't sat down
a long time,
2.5 hours
ever.
Yeah. I
mean, dude, it's been like, I don't know. I enjoy it. And I think that COVID taught us a lot of different things, but there is something that we need as humans, and it is to be around other humans, even though it might not feel like it every time, and people might frustrate you, and you might need some privacy, some alone time and all that stuff, but you do not fill up that cup without human interaction.
And I think, too many people don't recognize their need for it.
Right.
And look, not everyone needs it at the same level. I actually I would not be a good candidate for a work from home situation.
No, me neither. Like, I've tried it. It actually drives me mad.
Like, I like to go in and I like to see the people. I like talking to people. I can stop by and say, hey, how was your, you were telling me the other day about this. Was that? Like, you can invest in people in a different way.
But guys, you'll feel more accomplished at the end of the day when you go home, because you'll feel, I did have conversations with others today. I did check on somebody that I hadn't talked to in a while. I did do this. It's like, it's the action of doing and making that physical, emotional, social connection. And so that's why I'm not like, I get the people's gripe, especially over the last, 12, 15 months with the whole, no more working from home stuff. And a lot of these major corporations being like, yo, we need you more in the office. My dad has been working at Marriott for 25 years now. Long time.
Great company.
They've always had a mandate, and they're pretty, I would say they move about as quickly as the federal government does. They're not very agile, but they've been forced to, over the last 5 years, move a little bit quicker, and they've been able to flex on some stuff. But he's like, look, as much as I don't want to drive in from Edgewater to Bethesda or Chevy Chase every day, I think the new office is Chevy Chase, it's still like, I can't refute the policy, because there is no better way to build culture as a company. And at the end of the day, as much as we are human beings, we're working for and getting paid by this company. And this company says, look, we perform better and we get the best out of you guys when you guys are all together. And I get that. It's way easier for us to collaborate on stuff when we're sitting across from each other at a table. Then
I'm a big whiteboarder.
You know?
Like I've got
Oh yeah, I've seen the whiteboard.
The
baby.
whiteboard in the office is
That's a legendary whiteboard.
There's a lot of. I could argue that my best ideas came off that whiteboard. And like my new office, when we moved into the new space, I love it. I don't want to go to a conference room. I like being in my office because it's got my space, it's got the whiteboard, and now it's got the high top table that the team works at.
That's cool.
We can I'm walking around. It's interesting. You talk about like work from home. The one thing that's been really cool, there's been a few instances over the course of the last 5 years, 6 years, where we were able to retain talent because they could work remotely. So Amy on our team.
That is cool. Yeah.
Her husband got PCS to California back in 21. And I was like, we're going to try something new. We're going to ship all your stuff out to you. And it was cool because during COVID, she worked and gave us a late night.
And that is cool.
Hours to where she was answering stuff on the West Coast time. So we had this wider range of coverage, which was really neat.
That is nice.
She's awesome. And subsequently, she's actually moved he got PCS again from there, and now she lives in Tennessee.
That's right.
And then Ashley, she moved a year and a half ago, maybe. Now, Ash has been with me since the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
She's got a special place in my heart because she's been with us, and she had to move down to take care of her dad down in South Carolina.
Yeah.
And it was same thing. It was do you want to take your stuff with you, or you want me to ship it? There wasn't really a conversation around whether she was going to continue to work with us or not.
I'm not even going to ask this.
But the unique part of in my office, when we have a daily huddle at 3:30 every day, and for our individual teams, the maroon team has one, gray has one, yellow's got one, gold's got one, and it's really where we get through all our roadblocks and make sure we're all on board with the different issues that were coming in the files and know what's going on. It was a way to bring everyone together. So I've got big TV like that one in my office, and I put a webcam just for the team huddles on top of the TV. So Amy can see the team.
That's good.
That's meeting in person, and we can see Amy.
Hell yeah.
And then now Xana's coming in from Prince Frederick. And so she's everyone's all over, and Terry will be on the road, or I'm on the road. And so it's just this way to bring everyone together. So technology has made that sort of stuff more efficient, but at the same time, I agree, there's a lot of benefit of working together as a team, especially when you're training.
Oh yeah.
Remote training.
It's awful.
I don't know how you can do it.
No, there's definitely instances where, a lot of, I would say a lot of the administrative tasks and stuff like that can be handled remotely, but there is there's a better bond, for better or for worse, depending on the experience.
Definitely when you're team environments,
for sure,
those ones, it's no different than being on a sports team.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I can go out and shoot 150 free throws by myself. That's fine. I can't get better at running a motion offense by myself.
Need others.
You can go play wall ball and give it 100 from the right, 100 from the left, and go 100 across, do whatever, take these shots. But you can't set up a pick offense by with a one-man game.
No, it's one, and that you're describing one skill, maybe two, that you're working on, but with others,
collaboration,
you can do more.
It takes everyone so much further.
100%, man. What's next for Eagle Title?
Let's say smart growth.
Yeah.
There's some markets that I'm looking at that really intrigue me.
Do you think you're mostly focused right now on horizontal growth? Just spreading the radius a little bit? Or it depends on what the situation is?
It's tough because it's got to be the right culture fit.
Yeah.
To bring, we've built, we built, Severna Park, we built on spec. We did the same effectively with Prince Frederick. We bought a company in Baltimore. So we've done it both ways.
Yeah.
They're both challenging, but wildly different challenges.
Sure.
Really interested in, I'm going to say the Bel Air Falston market.
Yeah.
And like getting some of that Harford County area would be cool. Everyone wants to be in Montgomery County. The values are great there.
It's just a whole different animal, though, with the contract and everything that's there.
It's a different animal. So I've been, like, we're trying to find some stuff out there. But again, I think it's got to be the right place and the right time. You know, I've had a lot of people want me to go to the shore. There's not enough units.
That's probably the most balanced market that we have right now. Whenever we do, and I'm just, whenever I talk shore stuff, I'm focused on Queen Anne's, Talbot, Kent County, Chestertown, that whole region, the Stevensville, Queenstown, all that stuff, and St. Michael's, Oxford, Easton,
Right.
the big triangle. It's between mid threes and upper fours, depending on the month, in terms of months of inventory.
Yeah.
That's far and away. Like Southern Maryland, sneaky, like not a lot of inventory and stuff moves really quick.
So, and you got a lot of PCSing down there.
100%.
So you got to know that game. And I got very fortunate with learning the PCS game early on. And those are different buyers and different sellers.
Oh, for sure.
You got, when you're dealing with sellers in the PCS game, you got to be helping guide them through the non-resident withholding tax early on in the process, because they're not residents of the state.
No.
They live here, but they're not residents of the state for tax purposes. They're Florida, Texas, Nevada, and I would say to agents, like, when you take a listing, before you walk up the driveway, look at the license plates on the car. If you see a Florida or Texas tag, you better be having the out-of-state withholding tax conversation in the initial listing appointment. That's a huge value add right in that moment. People PCSing here, lots of power of attorneys, and they use a lot of VA loans. And so you need to know the requirements and what's going to work with what lender and what the verbiage needs to be on that power of attorney. There's times where we've got people who are active duty and, you know, the spouse is making the move while they're stationed overseas. That brings a whole different animal to the ball game.
Poor spouse.
I respect our service members.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of their spouses almost are more commendable just because of what they sacrifice to do that, and just how they support our service members.
Yeah.
It's
a hard life.
They show up in a big, big way.
Yeah.
Big, big way.
That's not easy, man. I mean, you imagine not being here for 6 months, 8 months at a time, and Steph having to handle everything by herself. Like, dude, she'd kill you. She'd be, wow. I mean, different ball game, dude. Well, dude, I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see what's next for Eagle Title. But you guys, I mean, should elaborate a little bit more that we're going to wrap this up. But you guys, as Eagle Title, that's just one wing of the business. You guys have a whole other side of the business. It's a law firm that handles a lot more than just that.
We've got Liff, Walsh & Simmons as well, and that's a full-service law firm. And, you know, with that, we're doing anything from, obviously, we do real estate. Like, that's a big part of it.
Sure.
And we were known for that early on, but we've added so many different practice areas. Now we've got estate planning administration. So they're doing everything up front and then everything after, everything from, you know, doing trust and estates work. And they do a really nice job with it because they don't over plan for people that don't have, you know, too many people get put into a revocable trust that have no business being in a revocable trust, but those trust shops just chew them up and spit them out and take their money, and, you know, it's a headache. But we represent about 8 or 9 local banks doing business financing documents for them. We've got a new ethics team, which is awesome. We've got an employment team. We've got a litigation team. So we've got just like all these different practice areas that really can support a lot of our clients in a big way. And it's been interesting. A lot of times you've got a really small title company that only exists to service a really big law firm.
Sure.
Or you've got a really big title company as a very small law firm that supports the title company.
You guys are pretty damn balanced.
They're pretty balanced. And they're different businesses, but it's created a ability for us to service all of these different clients and kind of grow and both stand on their own. You know, one's not dependent on the other by any stretch of the imagination.
That is cool. It's got to be a fun feeling when you have a nice settlement and somebody's, and I've been a part of a few of these where people have been like, oh wait, you guys do estates in Wales? Oh, you guys do this too? And like, yeah, well, here's our card. Call us anything. Like that's pretty cool, man.
You know, when I joined the company, it's either employee 4 or employee 5. I've seen it go. That was even before we had the title company.
Yeah.
And I've seen it go from where it was to where it is today. And it's just awesome.
That's pretty cool.
I think the thing I love most about it is just some of the amazing people that I've gotten to work with over the years, and like people I've met. And, you know, it's been cool to help a lot of consumers. You get involved in 30,000 transactions. You've seen some people, you've met some characters, you know, you've had some fun all the way. Now it's challenging me in a different way to like really figure out how to be the steward of the business, how to shepherd us into the next generation in an industry that is a very archaic industry, but bring it forward. And then it's also, you know, it's taken me to some really cool places in the world to learn from these other leaders. And
yeah,
that part's cool too.
That's pretty damn cool, man. I mean, I will give all the credit to Matt Nader for our connection.
Absolutely.
My boy, my dude, he set us up a long time ago. And I think his general aura is pretty palpable. The dude just
you could cut it with a knife.
You got it, bro.
Like you could bottle it up and sell it.
But you know what? I've always appreciated the way that he just attacks the day. It's very
he's an animal.
It's the way that, you know, coaches growing up would always tell you how to do stuff. I never seen anything like it. And I always felt with him that I had everything under control because he was there. And just by nature of his stamp of approval, I always knew that you guys were going to be a great fit for me. And it's continued to not only like hold true, but get even stronger over time, watching how you guys have been able to build, and almost all of it. I mean, you have a great team behind you, but dude, I've seen the work that you personally put in, and it's just impressive. And it's always been something that I've admired. And I'm very grateful to Matt for this introduction. And I always love coming into your guys' offices and seeing you and Terry. It just makes me smile, man.
I always thank Matt for the introduction. And, you know, 13 years ago, whatever it's been, you know, you have the worst stories through the years. You have the good transactions, the bad ones, the ones that have gone off the rails for whatever reason. I admire Matt. You know, what he's been able to do in his career has been transformative. He's, you know, got First Home at the helm right now, and
yeah,
you know, he's doing some really unique stuff with them, which I can see like that intentionality that he brings to each day. You know, he's still getting up every morning, putting in the work, getting, you know, he's worked out more in the morning than I'll work out all month.
I mean, buddy, it is exhausting.
And with that many girls in the house, I guess that's why you have
now you got to get out of that house. That's the problem.
But, you know, he's just the best. And I love that whole team over there. And, you know, it is about working with local people and understand the market, understand what gets deals done. And, you know, at the same time, you can't take anything for granted. You have to keep showing up. You have to keep doing the small things. And, you know, you just can't say, oh, I got that relationship on lock.
Yep.
You got to deliver each and every day. We are only as good as our last transaction. And too many people want to take that for granted. And just got to be working on it.
Amen, dude. Amen. Well, thank you for joining me
Thank you for the time
today, dude.